Hello YouTube, Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to the Knife and EDC channel. Today is Tuesday, December 30th, 2025, which means, hey, we only got one more day this year. And then we usher in a brand new 2026. I hope you're ready for it. I hope everybody has had a fantastic holiday week so far. We got a couple more days and then back to the grindstone. That's kind of the way it goes, right? So let's get into today's video. What you see on the table is just part of an order that I placed with Knafs knives. Now that is Ben Peterson's company. He's been in operation now for I think about 3 to 4 years. Used to be with a major retailer of knives, decided to start his own company. And I went ahead and jumped on a pre-order that was on Kickstarter for the Knafs Lander 5. Now, what you see on the table are some of the things that came with that order. A couple of things were a bonus if you ordered a certain quantity of knives. But all in all, I think this worked out pretty well. Now, I'm a little concerned about pre-orders, and I'm a little concerned about how they seem to be getting more relevant instead of less relevant. But that's a topic for another day. I thought I'd trust Ben to see how this one would work, and I can rest assured tell you that even with some economic and political roadblocks, so to speak, to get this done, he executed just fine. So Ben, thanks for letting us participate in this pre-order for the Lander 5. Now, included with the package, I got this note. It says, "Sweet mercy, this was the biggest yet. The Lander 5 was wild. You were part of 2,661 people who jumped on board with this crazy rocket and put your money down." And he talks about basically trying to satisfy customers, and I appreciate the note and fulfilling the order that you did. So kudos to Knafs, and let's get into it. Now, along with the two knives we're going to take a look at, two configurations of the Lander 5. I got some additional things on the table. I'll just mention them briefly. If you ordered a certain quantity of knife, you got a free bit driver grande that was created for the project. Now, along with this came a 3D printed bit driver holder along with bit holders for that tool. 3D printed, and on the other side it says Knafs. So Ben, again, thanks for getting this stuff out and including some of the bonuses. Of course, I got a sticker, got a mint. We'll probably use that after the video. And I got the Sancho pry bar. And I think this was a reduced price, but a little tiny titanium, I believe, bar with a Knafs logo. Perfect for keychains. So Ben, again, thanks again. Now, what I'm going to do is pause the video. We're going to clear the table except for the knives. We're going to go ahead and unbox them and take a look at both the gray stone-washed version of the Lander 5 and the black-washed version. So, stick with me and we will talk about the Lander 5 knife. All right, so here are the two model configurations of the Lander 5. It comes in a beautiful gray stone-washed knife, and it comes in a black-washed version. Now, both knives, other than that, are the same configuration. Now, you can see how small this knife is. Now, again, I didn't get into it earlier, but let's talk about it now. The whole concept of this design was that Ben Peterson grew up in the Boy Scouts, was a scout participant, as was I, and many of our peers during years gone by. And in the Scouts, you were taught how to use and properly maintain a pocket knife as a cutting tool. And it's a lesson that unfortunately has kind of been lost with the changes to our society, and now, quite frankly, is even shunned as far as trying to teach kids how to properly use and maintain a knife. He wanted to basically resurrect that concept and that idea, wanted to provide parents a smaller design knife that would be properly sized for children's hands so that they could learn under supervision how to properly use a knife. And I think it is a great concept. I think it is a fantastic idea, and I wanted to support that mission as much as the knife itself. So Ben, congratulations and kudos for trying to do this. And this is the project and knife design that he came up with to do this at this point. Now, I should mention, these are still available on the Knafs website. Knafs.com, American company out of Utah, did have these Chinese OEM'd and made, but again, I think it's a great concept, and I hope you appreciate that as well as support them. They are still available on the website, and the retail price of these knives are $30. So I hope you consider picking one of these up, but here you go. Now, for the size of my hand, I have extra large hands, and you can see how small this knife is. This is basically the size of a small Barlow or the size of a smaller pocket knife. Now, bigger than a peanut, but I would say smaller than most small Barlows. So a tiny knife. And again, I got these more for Christmas gifts for family members that basically are my grandchildren. So here you go. We're going to open up this knife. Now let me give you a few specs. It is a drop point. Has a nice jimping halfway down the spine of the blade, as well as a swedge basically 2/3 down the spine to the tip. You do have basically a saber grind on this, sharpened with a secondary bevel to a nice edge. The blade length on this is 2 1/8 inches. The overall knife, when open, I believe is right around, I think it's like about 5 3/4 inches. We'll go ahead and measure that here in a second. Its deployment is through use of a flick or of a slow thumb roll into the hole that's been put in the knife blade. Now this is 8 CR 13 MOV steel or 14 MOV steel, so just a nice, I will say, medium grade stainless steel. Of course, with it being stainless and black washed, that gives you some additional coating protection. When you go to use this knife, it should not scratch as easy if this was more of a satin or a mirrored polymer finish. It does come with a small pocket clip, and that is a deep carry clip. No mushrooms growing in the shade, so you can see that those screws have been recessed into the handle, and it is ambidextrous in that he has made it so that the clip can be flipped to the opposite side. Now this is a small liner lock, or a frame lock, so you basically use your thumb to actuate that lock and then close the knife. Now, as much as I think this is a perfect knife for a small child to learn how to use, I have to admit this is very difficult for me to use. This is a small folder, and for large or extra large hands, I think you're going to have to be very careful in being able to hold the knife as well as be able to actuate it and use it. So again, to create a knife for children to learn how to properly use and maintain a knife was the overall goal, and I think the size fits perfectly with that concept. For me, if I did carry this, it would be the perfect 5th pocket carry. In those jeans or that watch or coin pocket that are included in most either cargo pants or jeans, this is the perfect knife size for that. All right, screwed construction. We got T6 screws on this throughout. Of course, we have his maker's mark. What is up, guys? And a diamond. That is, of course, Ben Peterson's mark. And you have the Knafs logo on the blade on the other side. Let's go ahead and we'll pick up the stone-washed version of this. And again, these are the only 2 configuration it comes in. Now, the body is stainless steel construction, so no titanium on this knife. And you wouldn't expect it for a price tag of $30. Okay. I think this is just a fantastic knife, again, to meet the mission and the goal of the project. I'm glad that Ben took it upon himself to try to create a knife that would be affordably priced for families wanting to teach your kids how to use a tool. And along with the rest of the contents of the box, I did get the Knafs coin that I could put on a key ring if I wanted to. Knafs on one side and a logo and a saying on the other. So there you go, folks. Just a quick review now. An additional spec for you is this knife weighs basically 2.6 ounces. And I think it's just a great little knife as a first-time knife for somebody to use. And this is an option to a traditional slip joint knife. So I think that as well is a good idea and a good concept. So there you go, the Knafs Lander 5. Ben and staff at Knafs, thanks for getting this out to me. This is Byron from Splitting Slices saying split a slice with a friend soon. Enjoy your holiday week, and until my next video, everybody please take care.